extraordinary people of the internet. I hope you're all doing amazing. I've bought something weird and I don't know why. Let me show you what's going on. So this is my latest purchase in bad decisions, and I have absolutely no idea why I've bought this, but I did. So here we are. What I'm about to say to you guys, I mean absolutely no disrespect to the guy I bought this off. Really nice guy. Got along with him like a house on fire, and I did get this for a pretty good deal. Original plan for this was I bought it for a customer of mine who got me onto it, who was interested in it, and he wanted me to fix it up a fair bit, and he was then going to buy it back off me. When I went and had a look at the car, found a whole bunch of issues that we had to go through, and I haven't even put this on the hoist yet, but just as I've gone through more things and the customers come and had a look at it, it's going to be way more work than what we originally thought. So he's lost interest on it, so now I've got it. I have no idea what the plan is for it. But yeah, so again, no disrespect to the guy I got it off, but yeah, things have not been done in a real good way on this. But basically, this thing is a 99 VT Commodore. It's got a VX SS body kit and headlights on it. And it's been painted like this purplish blue color. I think it's like a Raptor coat or something. I'm not sure. It's absolutely filthy. It's got dust and mud all over it. Interior is not much better. It's got a thick layer of dust on the dash. It's got a VT steering wheel on it. That shifter is going to basically be a giveaway, and so is the title of this video. It's missing all of the check straps for the doors, so all the doors just sort of flop shut. It's got some parts in the back seat that I've acquired, which I'll get back to shortly. It's got a rocket cover gasket, a battery, an earth cable, trans service kit, filter and spark plugs and stuff, but yeah, I'll get back to that. Looks like the paint was peeling and it's just gone ahead and painted over the peeling paint. Yeah, that's basically it. It does have new tires on it. As for things that I've done to this thing so far, oh yeah, this side skirt's just hanging on with hopes and dreams. As for things I've done to this thing so far, I towed it home on the trailer, and by the time I got home, this garnish was just hanging by the light wires, so I've bolted that in. The handbrake was missing the nut on the end of the cable, so I've put that on. That's about it, really. But I sort of guess like the surprise with this thing is the fact that, yeah, it's running this. So it's been Barra converted. It's an NA Barra+T. It did not have an intake pipe on it when I bought it. That was just sitting on the shelf and it fitted perfectly. So I've put that on it. It was missing the bolt for the dipstick, so I've put that on. It was missing the bolt for the fuel injector rail, so I've put a bolt on that. And that's as far as I've got. The battery's flat as a tack. Battery cables are basically 8-gauge amp wire, which are way too thin and not heavy duty enough for battery cables. But look, the thing's pretty rough, and the more we look, the more we find. The PCV ventilation, or the crankcase ventilation, is just venting the atmosphere. We've got coolant hoses with bolts in them here. Got another coolant hose with a bolt in it back here. We've got a coolant hose down here with a sensor in it blocking it off. Our fuel lines are just basically slipped onto the end of the fuel rail and they're about to come off. You can see they just basically spin. So that's pretty scary. The brake pedal goes to the floor. It's got no front sway bar in it because of the sump. The radiator's just sitting in there with hopes and dreams. So are the fans. Fans are just sort of sitting in there as well. So look, she's pretty rough. But basically, oh yeah, the ECU, all the wiring's pretty rough. The ECU just flops around. Well, look, yeah, I don't know why I bought it. As I said, I got it cheap. I'm not going to tell you the price because even that's what I paid is probably still too much. Basically, what I want to start with is I want to exactly see what we're working with here. I want to give it a bit of a clean as well. Give it a bit of a vacuum. Looks like someone sneezed on the windscreen, so I want to clean the windows. So I'm going to basically go through and give the inside a bit of a clean, and then I'm going to put it out the back, set my pressure washer up, and just sort of like do the wheel arches and get all the mud and stuff out of the engine bay and whatever. So bear with me. I mean, look, as far as a vacuum cleaner and a rag goes and a bit of interior wipe, I don't think it actually came up too bad. Carpet's actually not too bad shape, neither are the seats. Got all the dust off the dash. Body's done 460 odd thousand Ks, by the way, so quite a bit. It's also got an air fuel ratio gauge and a boost gauge sitting in the thing. OBD plugs tucked in down there. This seat was only held in with one bolt, so I've bolted the seat in while I was at it. These side trims weren't screwed in, they were just sitting there, so I screwed them in while I was at it, just for fun. I think this car originally was a manual, because there's also a hole on the firewall for the clutch slave, or clutch master, sorry. So, down there. So a bit of archaeology. The back seat was just sort of sitting in its hole, so I've clipped that in. Yeah, just sort of did a few little things. This trim wasn't installed. That was just sitting there, so I've clipped that back in. So just for fun, just doing a few things like that. So now we'll connect the jump starter and we'll get it out the back and start pressure washing the wheel arches and stuff, because yeah, they're just all pretty heavily caked with mud. So yeah, we'll do that next, and then we'll start looking at everything else. Moved old mate out the back now, and I actually got carried away doing some more stuff that I noticed in the long drive from there to here. So the it was flashing up saying it was due for a service, the service reminder thing, which you normally clear from this, but that wasn't working. Then I noticed that this whole trim fascia wasn't screwed in at all. I popped that out. That wasn't plugged in, so I've plugged that in and now that works. While it was out, I also noticed that the headlight switch wasn't plugged in. So I plugged that in, which then led me to checking to see if the lights work, and actually all the exterior lights on this thing work, except the reverse lights. But now it's getting late, so I'm going to pressure wash this thing tomorrow morning. Morning, what a cracking day. Beautiful day. Got to get to doing some cleaning. Busted out my little pressure washer, and let's just get into it. Okay, I think we're pretty much done as far as cleaning goes. I started on this corner, and yeah, the paint didn't like the pressure washer. Anyway, it is what it is. I did some stuff around the engine bay. I degreased the oil leak from the rocker cover. I've done all of the wheel arches and did all of the door jams and door openings, so everything's all looking clean now. I don't know why I'm doing this, it's just for fun. I should probably mention as well, I have absolutely no plan for this car. I've got no idea what I'm going to do with it. Yeah, we're just going to basically start fixing up some things that are, I don't know, easy to do and cheap to do. And then as we go along, I'm going to have a bit of a think and decide what I'm going to do with this thing moving forward. But for now, let's move it inside, and we'll start having a play with some stuff that needs to be improved on, fixed and sorted. So, where to start on this thing? Well, I actually literally have no idea. I don't know what the game plan is, because I still don't know what we're doing with this thing. But all I do know is there's a whole bunch of things under the bonnet of this thing that I don't like. And I want to go through and fix a bunch of stuff under the bonnet before I even put this thing up on the hoist and have a look underneath it. So I'm going to start, I know there's an oil leak at the back of the rocker cover, as I mentioned before, we just cleaned it. So I'm going to start with that. I'm going to pull this cold side intercooler pipe off, pull that crossover manifoldy thing off, the breather hose off, and the rocker cover off. And yeah, we'll just get to work on getting the rocker cover off so we can fix that leak. I'm literally step one in of taking that piece off, and I've already found more issues. So throttle body is really dirty, so I'm going to give the throttle body a bit of a clean out and suck that all through. Also, our serpentine belt is pretty cracked. And when I had it running before, I sounded like there was a pulley noise, so I reckon this pulley is stuffed. This is the factory plastic idler pulley. So yeah, I'm going to get the belt off, order a new belt for it, and I'll probably end up replacing that idler pulley as well. I've just started it back up at the moment because I've just cleaned out that throttle body. So I've turned the ignition on, held the accelerator open with the screwdriver, squirted some throttle body cleaner in there, brushed it all out with an old toothbrush, squirted it all through. So we'll just let it run for a bit, burn that stuff off, and then we'll keep pulling it apart. Righto, rocker cover's off. She's looking a bit crusty inside the engine, but we're going to pretend that it looks immaculate and that it's all fine. You do need to take the throttle body off to get the rocker cover off on these. Throttle body was held in with 2 bolts. This one was tight, this one was not. So we're going to need to find some more bolts for that. And also the engine cover bolts that go on the rocker cover. So this cover It's missing all of the grommets that push down onto the coil, so I wanted to see if I can try and find some of them. And this was only held in with 3 bolts, so I'm going to see if I can find some bolts for that. This guy really did not like bolts. So anyway, we're going to go through, get everything cleaned up, get the rocker cover cleaned up, get this surface all cleaned up, put a new gasket in it, and just start reassembly. Right, I got everything as goodly cleaned up as it's going to get. In the art of getting carried away, I decided to paint the rocker cover red because, hey, the car is turbo, and no, I didn't sand any of the blemishes off it. I've just painted over everything to continue the theme of the quality of the car. Got my new rocker cover gasket here, ready to go. All of the coil packs don't actually look that old. Looks like it's got a new set of Goss ones in it. And also went out to my mate's place who's got a couple of Falcons he's wrecking and picked up another engine cover that's got a gasket and the grommets in it. And I've picked up a couple of throttle body bolts as well. So that's good. So now while this is all apart and while that paint's drying, I'm going to pull the spark plugs out of this just to check them, because it did come with a new set of spark plugs. These are just the normal XR6 turbo spark plugs, which are essentially the same plugs as NA. They're just a different heat range. So we'll go through, check plugs, and just start putting it all back together. Plugs are done. This is what came out of it. They were standard XR or like NA plugs, but they look like they've been in there for quite a while. You know, I was saying the more we look, the more we find. Well, I should probably stop looking because I've also noticed during the course of doing that, that, I don't know if you can see that, a lot of our plenum bolts are actually missing. So now I need to go through and find bolts for them. And also, fuel rail is also not bolted in. So I did put a bolt in the front mount of the fuel rail when I brought the car home, but the middle 2 bolts and the back bolt is missing as well. So there was no bolts in the fuel rail. So I'm going to see if I can find some fuel rail bolts and some plenum bolts, and then we can start putting it back together. Far out. So I've powered ahead a little bit and basically got rocker cover on, coil packs on, all the wiring's back on. Don't know if I mentioned before, but I've put extra bolts in the fuel rail and the plenum, so they've all got bolts in it now. Throttle body is on with 4 bolts, so that's awesome. And then I went through and I just sort of went around and had a bit of a tighten up of any bolt that I could see. There were several exhaust manifold bolts under the head that were loose, and there was actually 3 bolts that were missing. I found 2 so far that work, but I've still got 1 more for down there. But I'll find that later. It's better than what it was. So now we'll go through and put the engine cover on. And before we put the intake pipe back on, while this area is open, I'll hold the radiator back and I want to flick this belt off and change the belt and that pulley. Moving forward, yeah, I got more of the top of the motor stuff put back together. I simplified that breather hose, even though it's still just dumping down to the, pointing to the ground. It's not as messy as it was. Got the belt off. This is what I was talking about when I said it was split and cracking. It's one of those custom 2-piece belts. And this idler pulley. That bearing is well and truly stuffed, so we're going to upgrade that to a metal pulley and then throw a new belt on it, finish putting everything back together. Alrighties, we've gone through and finished all of that stuff that we've been doing. Turned out to be way bigger of a job than I thought. So everything's all back together. I've rejigged this intercooler pipe as well. I chopped a little bit off that end because this part of it was sitting over the top of the radiator fans and it was hitting the bonnet. So now I've shortened it so it sort of sits down in that gap, so that's better. I've also deleted this cap, well, you can call it that, which was on here, and I've just put a little rubber cap on there with some high temperature super glue to hold that on there, so that's going to sort that. And the other thing I did is I removed the Chinesian boost controller that was on it. BA XR6 turbos don't run much boost. It's like 5.5 or 6 pounds. Like it's really not much, especially with this thing running an Ecotech fuel pump and not properly tuned. I'm not comfortable running any more than that. And even still, even if it was tuned and without doing valve springs, I personally am not comfortable running more than that. I know there's a lot of people out there running 12, 13 pounds on NA motors unopened. Feel free. That's not what this is about. And he said he was targeting around 7 or 8 pound anyway. So anyway, it is what it is. We just want to try and get this thing running. So now that it's all back together, I've got the jump starter on it. Just want to hit the key and make sure she all runs and does what she needs to do. Very good. No more screechy sound from the front of the engine with that noisy idler. Obviously we've got the new belt on there too. Very good. All right, on to the next job. We've still got a little bit of time today, so we'll keep hooking in. So the next thing I'm going to try and make better is these fuel lines. This fitting here is our fuel vapor return that goes back to our catch can. I believe this is our fuel feed, and this one up here that's bent is our fuel return. And yeah, as I said before, they're just sort of hanging in on the end of the fuel line there, and I reckon I could probably even yeah, I can just pull it off by hand with not that much force. So just going to try and make this a little bit not dangerous. Righto, so fuel lines were actually pretty easy. All I did is bend the hard lines over a little bit, took the clamps off, took the hoses off, and then cut the hoses a bit shorter because there was a whole bunch of excess hose looped up down there. So I've sort of pulled it through and slipped it on over the bump in the hard line. So you can sort of see now the clamps are on this side of the bump in the hard line on both, so they can't actually blow off. So I'm feeling a lot better about that. Next thing, in case you're wondering too, this hose here, this is a vacuum line that feeds the vacuum switches for the heater controls on the dash. So obviously that's not doing anything at the moment because it's not connected. Next thing we're going to move on to is battery mounting and battery cables and stuff, or at least a negative one anyway. Excuse me. So yeah, this battery is completely dead. I've tried charging it overnight and it barely turns the dash lights on. So as you saw at the start of the video, we did pick up a battery for this, literally cheapest we could find. These battery cables, as I mentioned earlier, they're 8-gauge speaker wire, just way too thin, don't trust it. There's also this earth strap here that goes to the side of the Barra block, which is supposed to go to the body of the car, which isn't connected to anything. So I want to try and connect that to something. And I want to rejig the battery tray. I think the battery's only held in with one bolt, the battery tray, but how it's mounted, the battery actually hits the back of the headlight and it's causing the headlight to stick out. So we'll go through, remove the bracket. I do have a Commodore bracket for it as well. I think this is a Falcon one that's been bent up, but it's in a Commodore tray. So it's not really sitting well. Also, where this bolt goes through the tray, the end of the bolt hits the body of the car. So I want to drill a hole in the body so the bolt can go through the hole in the body, because when you tighten it up, it wants to kick the whole battery up. So we'll go through, get this all apart and try and make it a bit better, I guess. Battery tray is in. We've got two M8 bolts holding it in. New battery is installed and retained. Nice and secure. And for now, we are going to reuse this crappy power cable, just because I'm running out of time. I don't have time to redo it. The negative terminal we're going to use now is, I had one of these in stock, which is just a negative earth strap. And I've just drilled a hole here, buzzed back the paint a little bit, and I'm just going to bolt that through the wheel arch. And then obviously we've got that other cable giving earth to the motor. And I'm just going to go through and trace this back to wherever it goes, which is down here somewhere, and I'm just going to delete it. Righto, we are pretty much there for today. Got that cable in, got a bolt in it. Obviously the bolt's coming up, so it's not pointing down to the tyre, just for safety. But I'm running out of time now. I've got some retail work I've got to go out on site and do. So I'm going to call it there for today. This video is probably getting a bit too long. But there is still a whole more stuff underneath the bonnet of this thing that I want to do, mainly wiring related. So I want to redo that positive battery terminal wire and cable, sorry. I want to sort out and tidy up all of the wiring in that corner. Also all down in this corner. Like, there's just a whole bunch of mess as far as wiring goes. But keep in mind, I still haven't put this thing up on the hoist and I still haven't driven it more than 100 meters. But we have gone through and sorted out a whole bunch of stuff that I really wasn't happy with. So that is a win. But I do beg to ask the question now, do we dare throw the tray plate on this thing and take it for a road test? Well, the answer is yes. We are going to road test it. Obviously nothing on the dash works, which we knew about. Steering wheel's off center. I'm probably 200 meters from my place and I'm already regretting this. The car's really darty and really floaty. Obviously it's got no front sway bar, so that's not going to help. We don't know what the condition of stuff underneath this thing is like. Don't have a lot of fuel, but it does make turbo noises, which is good. Anyway, I'm just going to take it for a small drive. We'll see you back at the house. Righty, we're back and we didn't die, which is preferable. It drops pretty bad. So as you saw, steering wheel is right hand down. The guy bought it off did say that he's put a new steering rack in it, so we don't know what the toe adjustments are. We don't know what any of the adjustments are. We don't know if it's had a wheel alignment. We also know it's not running a front sway bar, so that's definitely not going to help things. It's super darty. It pulls left pretty hard. The brakes are horrible on this thing. The brake pedal is almost on the ground, but if you stomp on it, the car just basically slows down. It's not really, there's something not right in that regard. Actually, I haven't even checked brake fluid on this thing, but I'm also scared too. Performance-wise, it goes pretty much like you'd expect a stock BA Falcon to go that's running a few pound of boost. If you saw in the last clip there on the 2 gauges, it's hitting, with the boost controller removed, it's hitting about 5 pound and then it drops back to 4, and AFR readings are actually not too bad. Again, the guy I bought it off did say that he tried to road tune it with a mate of his. So yeah, there's definitely been monkeyed with, but even if this thing was to stay a project and stay on 5 pound of boost, I'd still want to get it tuned properly. So yeah, still a lot more work to do on this thing. But next time you see it, we'll jam it up on the hoist and stuff like that. So I have thought of a name for this thing though. I'm going to call it Project Commocon. So Commodore Falcon, Commocon. Yep. And that's about it, really. Let me know in the comments what you guys think we should do with this thing. I've got a little bit of a plan, actually, that I've thought of this afternoon, which I think would probably suit it a little bit better. But yeah, let me know what you guys reckon. So if you want to see more stuff on this car, please remember to like and subscribe. Check out the other stuff on my channel. And until I see you guys in the next video, be good to yourselves and each other.